Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the very first Kruiser podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mikey.
I'm Liam.
And I'm Aiden.
Just kidding, guys. We're already messing with you. Come on, that's the Kruiser way.
Yeah, we like to frick with your head.
We like to frick around, have a good time. I'm Liam.
We're twisted individuals, and I'm Mikey.
And I'm late for work.
Just don't call me late for dinner. Anyway, boys, what are we going to talk about today?
Today, I think we're going to be delving into the album making process for our most recent record. What have we done? And we're going to tell you exactly what we did.
Yeah, and it's we thought it would be interesting because this was, I don't want to call it a nightmare because it was fun throughout the whole thing. I personally was very stressed out a lot of it. It was towards the end. It was very testing, but I think if maybe an aspiring solo artist or musician gets out of this is, stay persistent and do not expect things to go wrong, and when they go wrong, keep grinding. And also, there is ways to do things DIY, even though I still think we're the absolute luckiest band in the world.
For
but
sure. Out there.
We're definitely lucky at a lot of the stuff. So, Mike.
But that doesn't say that we didn't work hard for it.
Oh,
we worked hard.
Yeah.
We worked real hard.
Yeah.
So, let's take him back to 2019, our first album, the Take You for a Ride album.
The year after 2018.
Yep, and it was before 2020.
Right.
And that's the year we graduated high school, 69th graduating class of our alma mater. So, yeah, that's how you say it. Just a little tidbit.
Were we
about
actually
us.
the 69th?
We were 69th graduating class.
Beautiful.
Anyway, 2019 recorded Take You for a Ride little album.
I call it, by the way, I consider that our first album.
Yeah, might as well.
It's a short album, but I don't like the term EP because I thought of it at the time. That's an album.
Fair enough. That was cool. That was cool.
That was really cool.
But yeah, that was probably the best recording process you could have asked for. We recorded every instrument in one day in like a couple hours, did them all live, and then went back the next day and recorded all the vocals and overdubs and solos and stuff, and then we had
we may have even done solos the first day.
We may
and
have.
that's a fun one. That's got a lot of Kruiser classics. I'm talking Rebels Are Blind, Take You for a Ride, the fan favorites. The fans who really care.
Mm-hmm. In my opinion,
Take You for a Ride EP.
The most underrated Kruiser song is Turn Around.
Mm-hmm. That's Liam's pick for the most underrated Kruiser song. It's
Aiden's
Turn
pick
Around.
is Falling. I have a feeling.
I don't like when Liam speaks for me.
Well, then you tell him. What's your pick?
My favorite pick is Falling for the underrated.
I can agree with that.
I think the Outlaw song as well, but I do think the Outlaw song has its fans. But that one, I'm always like,
they're all underrated right now.
Right now, they're all underrated. But when the Outlaw song comes on, I'm like, I forgot we had that trick up our sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool song. That's one of my favorite Kruiser songs. And
so 2019, you guys are recording your first album. You're thinking, wow, I've never been in a studio before. How did you guys handle recording studio time with no experience?
Well, I'm trying to think if I did have any experience.
We may have recorded.
Well, still, you haven't recorded an album.
We would record with Mikey's dad, Pizza Kurt. I had recorded with
a legend.
Uncle Charlie.
Shout out Pizza Kurt.
When I was a kid, like real briefly. So I'd been in the studio.
And I can't remember if we had ever done some work for the local school around us.
Yeah, shout out to Sheffield.
Yeah.
We're both
Sheffield
graduates in
Institute.
there. If you're in the, well, not even just the Maryland area, if you're in the like Delmarva or even like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, check that school out. And if you're
not Delmarva though, because that's not this area.
Yeah.
The DMV.
Yeah, but
kind of the DMV.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
More like Baltimore.
Yeah, but people come from all around to go there. It's a really great school, and I know the former owner pretty well, and I know some of the teachers reasonably well, and it's a great school. And Aiden took a tech program there, and I took the audio program. So basically, Aiden wanted to be successful, and I was like, rock and roll. I'm going to be a producer, baby. Yeah. And I still will be one day, but to answer your question, though, I remember I was 17 years old, and it was, for anyone who didn't know, that was actually a really different lineup of the band, and I think we're going to probably dive into that a little bit. down the road of this podcast, but it was me and Mikey on guitar. Me on vocals. I just started really singing too. Like I took about probably 6 months of vocal lessons that led me up to that point, and I remember just the day before the vocals being like, oh God, like this, I have to do good. I have a day to do this. I'm pretty green to singing in the studio. Actually, I was completely green, and I feel like if you listen to my vocals on this album and that last album, I feel like I do not sound the same.
Mm-mm.
But I kind of like that though. I kind of like the raw takes on the first one a lot.
I'll say I remember that first day recording the vocals too. I wasn't like, I knew you'd do fine. I knew it'd be good, but I remember you sounded like way better than I was expecting. I was like, oh damn, like it could have been the studio, it could have been just the preparation you did. I mean, it was probably both and everything. But I remember being like, all right, the vocals, like I know this will be probably the hardest part, but I just remember being like, oh shit, no, this sounds really good.
Yeah, it was really good. And there was some cool takes. Like you listen to the vocal take on Taking for a Ride, and it's like super, like it's not a conventional vocal line, and it's just, but that's what's cool about the EP. It's very like raw. It's very like kids rocking out.
The background vocals kind of pull the whole thing together.
The background vocals, which are Mikey and Jack, actually are awesome. I think they add a lot.
Steal the show a little bit.
Yeah, and but yeah, we recorded in Manahawkin, New Jersey, and we stayed. I think it's called Beach Haven West. It's a little before Long Beach Island, so all you New Jersey people will probably know what I'm talking about. But we stayed at this place. It was a not a bed and breakfast. Airbnb.
Really gone downhill since then.
Yeah, and
way too expensive.
Well, let's put it this way: there was 2 18-year-olds and 3, I guess, 3, maybe 1 19-year-old. Jake's older than us.
Yeah, he wasn't. He would have just turned 9.
Yeah, he was 9. So a 19-year-old, 2 18-year-olds, and a 17-year-old were able to split it and get an Airbnb for 2 nights. And I remember we were just hanging out. We had somehow acquired beers and just. We were staying right on the water. It was amazing, and no, it was an amazing experience. I mean, it was fun. I mean, we recorded that live. If I'm not mistaken, we had no click, and we recorded it in my uncle's Charlie Berzanski. Check him out. He's in a great band called Vexus, and he plays around solo and does amazing production work. And we did it in his basement at the time. He didn't have like a full live room, so we went out there in the basement and we played 4 of us all together rhythm tracks. Like that album is very minimal overdubs. Like there's a slide guitar overdub, there's lead solos and vocals, but
that's pretty much it.
And I remember circling back around to the vocals, I remember like something that sticks out to me as like a cool moment is Charlie told me, he's like, all right, do the songs from easiest to hardest. I'm like, okay, what's the easiest? All right, Rebels Are Blind. And I think I worked my way up to Not Much Left, I think was like the hardest. And I remember we really liked the intro to Turn Around. He was like, yeah, we can do all this processing on this vocal. And we were like, I don't know if you remember this, but we were like, no, let's leave it raw. And it was a cool take.
Yeah, I like it. I like how it sounds now for sure.
But also, at the time, I remember thinking like the song that was really going to like take off was Not Much Left. That was my favorite at the moment by far. Well, has yours changed?
I always thought it would be Take You for a Ride or Rebels Are Blind, or the two that they're not even necessarily my favorite songs on that album. Rebels Are Blind might be.
Rebels Are Blind is awesome. Also a staple of the current Kruiser live show.
Yeah, people really like that song a lot.
People love Take You for a Ride too. I think right now my favorite, which for a while was my least favorite, was Turn Around. I think that's just it's a ballad,
it's
but
it's a killer power ballad.
It's like a people's choice.
It's like an immature power ballad. It's like a power ballad with a lot of parts written together, but in my opinion, we somehow made it work.
But that's kind of
the beauty of that.
Yeah, but also I think power ballads themselves are a little bit immature because it's in that weird like 80s phase where everybody was
when everyone was stuck in the 80s.
Yeah, and that was the ticket back then. They were like, you need a power ballad. And so that's what we did.
And that one has great background vocals on it. And there's one song where we used to have a singer named Garrett Thomas. Follow him on all his
Oh, yeah.
socials.
Great fella.
Great fella.
Chill.
Great singer. He wrote the lyrics to it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember at the time we were like, "Oh yeah, man, you think he's gonna be cool with us?" Because we had fired him from the band, and at the time when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, that's a big deal, man."
Yeah,
And fun fact about that, we were such pussies back then. We were at.
I wasn't in the band. I was cool.
Yeah, Aiden
You were
would have
still a
been
pussy.
14 years old at the time, I guess. And
Freaking whippersnapper.
he's a whippersnapper, and we were like, "Yeah, man, you think he'll be cool with us using the lyrics?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." We're like, "We'll credit you, man," because we're like, and we did obviously. Well, we we credit everything on our albums as Kruiser, which I think is unique to us.
Well, I think for the Take You for a Ride, we wrote every single person's name on each song as a songwriter.
Yeah, so we wrote Garrett's on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the EP was basically the dream recording process as far as I'm concerned, and then the album was essentially the polar opposite of that.
Mm.
It was an S show of sorts. A real crud shot of a process.
Here's and Mikey might know this, but I don't think Aiden was, and I definitely know that some of the fans don't know this. Is the album the track listing for the original EP was going to be 8 songs. I had written it down. I had planned out the track listing, and it was "Take You for a Ride," "Rebels Are Blind," "Not Much Left," "Turn Around," and I think "Ain't Gonna Stop," "Evil Roll," "Wasting Away," and "Love Isn't Real" were all on there.
Yeah, because they were all songs at that time too.
And "Unspoken" was probably floating around a little bit. I don't think we could have written that one at the time.
I know that the main melody and chords were definitely around then. Because I wrote those in, fun fact, Atlantic City, New Jersey, the boo-doo-doo. So I think that was around, but I don't think the song was actually structured at all yet.
Yeah, and that's one of the most classic Kruiser writing methods is Mikey has a part, and he's like, yeah, I have this, man, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, man, that's actually, I really like that. Let's do that. And I remember Mikey, this was so long ago, but he shows me this riff. He goes, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, dude, that riff goes crazy. We have to turn that into something. And we were probably 15 at the time because we started playing that. That was actually probably the second Kruiser, or third, I guess.
That was probably the first good riff I have ever written.
Yeah, that's the
Probably
third,
the last one too.
the third Kruiser song ever written, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Well, could have been.
Oh man, are you alright?
This is a perfect segue into the recording process of the album, because that's how it felt the whole time.
So, I want to say we probably started planning for an album, or talking about, we have these songs, let's do an album in maybe as early as 2020.
Yeah, I think it was, because I think we were definitely talking about probably even in 2019, after the EP was already out for a while, and we were like, well, yeah, let's get an album out. Because I remember in 2020 we definitely wanted to do it, and I know that the pandemic slowed it down.
And I remember we had talked about who's going to record this. That was a thing. We were like, well, we have these people, and
there was also talks of a live album coming out at the time, and I remember that because I really wanted that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a live album in the future. That's definitely something we'd all like to do. I don't know where or when, but expect that to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say soon, but it'll be out. We'll do something. At that point, we started off. I would call us a cover band. We started off as a cover band,
Mm-hmm.
and when the EP came out, we had physical material, and we started working with people who could get us playing shows where we were at actual music venues and could play what we wanted. So we started doing that a lot. And we would still do, War Pigs, AC/DC, TNT. We did Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin. We kept some in.
Yeah, a really good way for bands that are coming up and starting out with covers, and you want to get your new material inside of it. You just have to sprinkle them in,
Mm-hmm.
and gradually get to your only playing your originals. And it also helps to play covers that are similar to your original stuff, so you keep the flow of the live music going. Because at the end of the day, people go out and they want to hear music they're familiar with, not some 16-year-olds who come up with stuff in their garage. But if you play music that's appealing to them and to their already taste, they might enjoy your stuff and might check you out again.
Yeah, and another huge tip with that is if you are going to be playing, cover sets and throwing your own originals sprinkled in, don't say it's original until after it's over.
Yes.
So just go from War Pigs into your original song, and then at the end of that song, be like, "That's one we just wrote 2 months ago."
You don't want to
whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to announce the bathroom break song
Exactly.
or the beer getting song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's a lot. Unfortunately, man, that's how it is, especially where we grew up.
You gotta do a lot of lying if you want to make it into
Yeah.
industry.
Lie a lot.
And some scenes I don't think are like that. Like if you live in Nashville, man, and
True.
you can cultivate, and I'm not in the Nashville scene, but from what I can gather, we've done Nashville shows, and it's a very nice thing.
You shout out Nashville.
We love Nashville.
Nashville is one of the best cities. It is the best city
Shout
for
out
music.
Echo Pilot.
Shout out to Echo Pilot. Shout out to Hexproof.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cale Jackson. Shout out to the Rose Jones.
Dirty Jones. Oh, the Rose
No, the Rose
is
Jones. The
different.
Dirty Janes we played with. They're from Tampa, I think.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
we played with them in Nashville.
Yeah, oh
And
my
the
God,
Eye.
Nashville.
Is the Eye rest in peace? Is the Eye
No,
resurrected?
No, the Eye came back.
The Eye is back.
I believe it did.
Check out the Eye.
That's a really cool place.
Yeah,
and
just
the Cobra.
The
And the
Cobra's
Cobra.
awesome. Just great city for music. We had never mind. We had an amazing time.
Yeah.
And
We did.
yeah, and
You said time for pizza?
let me.
We have pizza in right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have
I
pizza
set a
right
time
now.
for it. Don't worry. That's
So-
why I left. Don't worry about it.
I don't. You know what? Stop throwing up, man.
We're getting to the album. We're getting
there. But I have a question for you guys, real quick, because this reminded me. I saw an interview with Dave Grohl, and he said one of the best ways to start a band is find people who like all the same music.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think it works. Maybe that's the easiest way, but I think all the best bands that really come up with something special all have different tastes. Now we all like the same stuff, but we all venture off a little bit into other things. I would say Mikey and I probably have the most.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Aiden and I like a lot of the same stuff too, and Charlie.
I think it's not necessarily about having the exact same taste. It's more about just having the general through line. Like he was saying, we all like this stuff, but this guy, he likes to go in this direction with it, and he has these kind of tastes, and he likes these kind of tastes, but it's all generally within the same kind of vein. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar enough to where you can all still communicate musically.
And that's when you really have something special. Is
Yeah.
when you can pull from different areas and not make it sound random, make it sound like you. That's when you got you're killing it as a band, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Which
And
is
of
still,
course-
it's still okay to wear when you start out playing original, you're going to wear your influences on your sleeves naturally. But the more you write, the more you're going to kink that out and you're going to become into yourself.
Yeah, and
That's a really good point.
yeah. So fast forward back to the album, 2020. And this is something else I think younger bands, or not even just younger bands, but aspiring bands, but especially younger ones. We had the dream in high school. We were killing it. We were playing in, I don't know how, but we were playing in bars very frequently.
Oh, yeah.
And then we just, the four of us, we
he
just,
would go grease bar owners' shoulders.
yeah,
And
yeah,
come back and tell us how dumb they were.
yeah. And we simply,
I was just kidding. I was kidding.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to all the bar owners
Yeah,
who've let us
Shout out
play.
to bar owners. You are the
Except for
captain
there's-
of good times.
There's one in particular I can think about who's a real stinker.
Yeah, and that guy, funny enough, I saw him a year ago. He's like, man, because I do a lot of my solo stuff acoustically.
No, I think I was there. We played an open mic there.
Oh, no, that's right. You were
The guy
there.
was like, "You guys should come play again." We're like,
And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man. My schedule's busy. Let me think about it. Then I messaged him. He never messaged me back. And this guy had thrown us out with no pay before
Yeah.
during a football
That's not-
game. He's like,
that's
people
not
want to
nice.
watch.
it wasn't even a game.
It wasn't?
No, it was like an induction. For a legend, I'll admit it was for a legend. We'll leave it at that. We did get and the bartenders came up complaining that we got thrown out.
Respect to the NFL legends, by the way. If you're the Hall of Fame and you're watching this.
And who knows if the
Awesome.
bartenders even cared? They're customer service workers at the end of the day. They could have been on his side.
Yeah.
We support restaurant staff.
Yeah.
I do. You know, that's not a.
Look, we were in industry. We were on the front lines for some time.
Yeah, that was one of the most fun jobs I've ever had, is working as a
my
line
favorite
cook,
job,
man.
yeah.
That's amazing.
It was
And
good time.
so,
Let's get into cooking, how we cooked up this album, though.
yeah, well, I did want to say, you know, what I was trying to say to the young folk out there with the band is, and we never thought this would happen, but we simply put, the four of us at the time, we outgrew each other. Would you say it's safe to say? As far as not friends, because we're all four still amazing friends. You know, we're all like brothers still, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like lifestyle decisions, outgrew each other.
Oh, yeah.
And the first one to leave was our good friend Jack, who lives with us now. As I said, we're all still very, very close.
Yeah.
And
We don't like him, though.
You could see him in a couple of the Kruiser videos,
yeah,
especially on the Talk. Shout out the Talk. He was in a recent one
Yeah.
featuring his newest guitar.
not a very nice one.
No.
But
Jack is not a nice person, I agree.
and Jack was the first one to leave, and it broke our little hearts.
Broke our little hearts, but then
And
we figured it out. We kept it moving. We knew we had
this is before the pandemic too.
no, this was after the pandemic.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we had our first like tour lined up at that point. It wasn't like, you know, an official like back-to-back tour type thing, but we had a bunch
Oh,
of dates.
that's right.
It was our
That's right.
first time like playing a lot of shows out of the state and out of like the Baltimore area.
Yeah, like
And,
Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, so nothing crazy,
Yeah.
but a great start. And we had a woman named Leanne who, bless her soul, she is one of the most amazing people ever.
Oh, yeah.
For as far as like someone who believes in the music scene, like someone who saw us and was like, hey, you know what, I like what you guys are doing, and then put us with other bands who, you know, didn't even necessarily sound like us, which I am always I know promoters don't agree with me, but I love when you put a show together with all like different sounding artists. But you know, we were all like bands that were like playing instruments.
There was a through line.
There was a
Yeah.
through line. But you know, we had like bluegrass, reggae, metal, you know, blues, hard rock. You know, we were just doing everything with it with these other bands, not just us. I mean, like their sound. And we got when Jack left, we're like, God damn it, how are we gonna find another drummer? Because like I said, we're the luckiest band ever. We were all four originally, well, all five. You know, friends before we played music. We learned to play music together, and Mikey and I, since we were in 8th grade, then, you know, honestly, I mean, Aiden and I, since we were, I don't even know how old, you know, I got a guitar one year, then the next year for Christmas, Aiden got a guitar, and we started
It's true
playing
story.
around, and, you know,
Yeah,
all
you'll,
of us
you'll never
wrote
beat
together.
us unless you get to learn with the people we're in a band with, is what we're trying to say. You just can't compete with us.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing here.
So we're like, what are we going to do about a drummer? And there were some people in the local scene I was thinking about. There were some older guys who I knew, and I was like, oh, that would be cool if they joined. And then we're like, what about our friend Charlie?
Our friend Charlie, who we had inebriately played drums with on multiple occasions and played through a couple songs that we already had in our set, and we're like, oh yeah, he's a great fellow. He was also really good friends with Jake, who was a bassist at the time, and lived with him for a while. So we're like, okay, yeah,
Let's
he's
try him
obviously
out,
the
you
best
know. Let's
option.
see
Yeah.
what he's made of. You know, we jammed him before, but when people know how to play instruments, that doesn't necessarily mean they're cut out to be in a band. That's just the reality of it. You know, playing live music is a matter of chemistry. And I remember I messaged him. I sent him like a long voice message. I'm like, hey man, look, Jack left. We need a drummer. We think it'd be cool if you like, you know, I don't know if we were like, yeah, you're in or not. We might have been.
No, I think we had, you know, not like, you know, fully scheduled auditions, but we're like, yeah, come play with us. We'll see how it goes. See if like if it's a good fit. If you like it, if we like it, like
Yeah,
and it
and
just worked out.
Fun fact about Charlie actually wasn't born. He spawned.
Yeah.
Charlie was spawned like a frog or like a tadpole.
he spawned.
And I remember I was like, hey man, here are the songs we know that are covers. Work on these. Here's our EP. And I sent him 9 of the 10, or maybe 8 of the 10, because Outlaw's song doesn't have drums.
Yeah.
I sent him 8 of the 10. Oh my gosh, the pizza's done.
But before that, and I will say this again, just to show how great of friends we are, is that Jack graciously helped us record drum parts along with a guitar part to send to Charlie before.
Yeah,
he
that's
left.
right. And I sent him, like, I don't even think it was Google Drive at the time we were using, but we were like, just sent him like phone videos of the 9 songs, and he learned them, which was like the first step when you're like, oh, this is a good fit, because he learned phone recordings. He's like, yeah, okay, I learned him, and obviously we had to work stuff out. And when Charlie joined, it was like a new, when you replace someone who's like a longtime member, like Jack was, who is an amazing drummer, so huge footsteps to fill, because not only was he an amazing drummer, super talented at a young age, but he had played so many gigs with us, and we had learned so many songs with him. We'd basically written 2 albums with him, and Charlie learned him, and he killed it. And then we started doing these shows, and we had to learn the stuff quickly because we had stuff booked, and he killed it, man. And he's still killing it.
Yeah, that's the first episode of Kruiser Roundtable.
But, well, we're not done yet. We still got to talk about the album.
And we're back with Kruiser Roundtable.
So then, Mikey can elaborate on this more. We did these shows. We started writing, working out the songs, the 4 of us, and we had 1 song left, which for whatever reason, and I was the.
Should I have a Miller or a High Noon?
You should have a High Noon, I think. Can you get me one too? The last song I showed everyone was Hitman, because unlike all the other songs on the album, I wrote that one, I think, completely by myself. We arranged it together and whatnot, but I was nervous because we had never done a song where I was like, guys, here, and we've done it, because we have a single that's going to be coming out at some point that Mikey completely wrote. And he had an audio recording, so I was able to learn that. But this one didn't have any recording, so I was like, all right, guys, here's what I'm thinking. We do this.
On Audacity with a Guitar Hero mic.
Yeah. And it actually didn't sound horrible. Mm-hmm. And it didn't sound bad at all, actually, to be honest with you. And I was like, all right, guys, here it is. And it was also much heavier, than anything we'd written at the time.
Hitman. Yeah.
Hitman. And the song is Hitman, and that's kind of become a favorite of a lot of people, I would say. Yeah. So it's interesting how that one came about, is because it was not in our comfort zone at all.
Not at all, because I remember when you were first showing it to me, and I was like playing along with you, but it was hard to follow. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's funny looking back at it now, but I was like, I don't know, I can't do this. Like, this is different than anything.
I remember, I think Jake had the most doubts. He was like, I don't know about this one. Yeah. I was like, guys, let's figure. I don't even know if we did it with Jake in the band. I think we might have done it once.
I think we tried it a couple of times.
It didn't work well, but it wasn't his fault. We just didn't have it rehearsed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, guys, hear me out. I really think this is going to be something special. And it turned out pretty awesome. Song. That's one of my favorites on that.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we're doing these things. And then a year goes by, we keep playing shows, and then we book our first actual. Well, no, there's time in between that. And then we're like, and I'll let Mikey take it away. We're like, all right, let's record. Who are we going to record with? And then Jake, who's a great engineer, was like, you know what, guys? And this isn't maybe completely accurate, but it was like, I think I remember having conversations with Mikey being like, you know what? Let's have Jake record this, man. We have no outside, people influencing us. Let's make a genuine, self-produced album, and let's kill that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so I can't remember. Again, I think this was, let's just say it was 2021. It was around then.
It definitely was 2021.
Yeah, when we started, it was early spring, late winter 2021. We wanted to start recording this album, and that's what we did. And
2021, that's after 2020.
Yeah, that's after 2020. This is Jake Cook is still a bassist and producer at this point of the band, and we literally recorded, I'm pretty sure, the entire album, and then we again did it to no clicks.
Vocals.
Nah.
Was there vocals?
I think we did do vocals at one point, but I don't think
I was wrong. I was wrong about that. That's my bad.
No, there was recordings that didn't have vocals that I think we sent to Scott. Anyway, we literally recorded the whole album between Charlie's basement at the time, and where Jake was living. We recorded the whole album, and then we listened back to it, and there was like a good number of like playing mistakes. Like I can't remember which song it was. It might have been Evil Roll, where it was just like completely off time.
Evil Roll was really off time, and Wasted Away was pretty off time.
Yeah, and then we were like, we got to like kind of do this all again.
And it sounded good though, and we had spent
a
lot of time with Jake recording, and I forget. It's like my brain is blocked that out. But we spent time, and it was fun. We had a lot of fun.
And I would still, I brought it up before, I would like to like go back and listen to some of those recordings, and maybe even just put them out on like SoundCloud or something. Just be like, hey, these are like demos even.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But anyway,
and Jake was the bass player, by the way.
Yeah. But anyway, we did all that, and then we had a tour booked too, and this was like, again, we had played that tour the year before, like going around here, but this was the first one we were going like really out of the way, like down to Atlanta, into like Ohio. Where else did we go? Like Pittsburgh, like, those kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but then after the first show, you know, not to get any people's business, but there was stuff going on, and Jake was like, I don't think I can do this, and we were all like, hey man, don't do it if it's not going to be fun for you. Like, don't do it if it's not worth it. Like, we can figure it out. It'll be okay.
Yeah, and
we did, and we figured it out. And again, we're still friends with Jake Cook to this day.
Yeah, and we had. Oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying we're still friends with him. He comes to shows. Like, since then, I've recorded many songs with him.
Yeah,
and he's still a killer producer. Really good. He's very into like EDM stuff and that kind of stuff. He's making a lot of that, which sounds pretty tough. Anyway, back to the Kruiser stuff.
And we had the last show we did. I don't know if you said this. I was taking a little tinkle break, and we had done a show in Rhode Island, and that was like our.
Oh yeah, Rhode Island too.
That was like our date. That was like a big. That was like this is our first tour. This is our first moment as a touring band. We did it with this brewery, and we had played a set, and we you know the audience liked it, but we did not play good at all, and.
It was definitely.
I think we all knew that.
Helped,
yeah, and we were all just so damn drunk. We just messed up so bad. And I remember, like I said, I'm not going to go into any like crazy details because really it wasn't any issue. But I remember we were just so drunk, and Jake was drunk, and we were just like, "Yeah, that's awesome that we just did this." But I think we were also like, "What are we doing here?" Like we didn't mess it up, but we're like, we could have done a lot better considering this was our debut as touring. And also, I remember we had messaged Aiden because Jake was kind of hinting at like, I don't know, guys, I don't know if this is for me. And we're like, and Mikey and I are like, had the same moment that we just had a year ago. We're like, oh my god, a bassist? How are we going to replace Jake? Because Jake. I've always said this, and Aiden could probably attest to this more than anybody, but Jake's a pretty great bassist.
Oh, very good.
Jake's very unique.
Yeah, he totally,
really,
and I always said that. I always said, he is himself on the bass, similar to how Aiden is.
Which is hard to replace in a band, very hard to replace.
I was like, he has a sound that is his own, and, I'm so grateful to have him in the band, and now I'm grateful to have played with a musician like that, because it's so interesting playing with people who
really
are
good.
Just themselves. They're not chameleons, They just are themselves. They pick up, they record, they just sound like themselves no matter what.
And I think that's true for all of us to toot our own horns. I think that helps a lot too. Is we're more like that.
We were like, okay, who do we know that played bass? I'm like, and then we were like, you know what? I wonder if Aiden would play bass, because Aiden, you were playing bass at the time.
Kind of.
Were you not? You played bass.
Not really. I had diddled around with bass. I started on guitar.
Right.
And then, as bassists do, they switch to bass.
Because they're asked to.
Yeah, because they're asked to. But I will say, man, most guitar bassists suck.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
Neither of the Kruiser. Yeah. Well, Mikey's a good. Actually, when Jake left, Mikey, we played as a 3-piece, which was actually really fun.
It was fun.
I don't know if it was fun for Mikey.
I did like it. I remember. I'm pretty sure it made my guitar playing better, or made it more comfortable, because I got used to the bass scale, and it was like way more physically taxing, and like
And he played with his fingers the whole time. I think maybe for a couple songs he used to pick.
I would switch off. At the first couple shows, I would switch off because I really wanted to do my fingers. Because like if I'm playing bass, I'm playing bass, and then but I'd be like by the end, I'd be like, ah shit, nah, I'm a guitarist.
There were some songs where we were just like, we can't do it, like unspoken, which is like to an extent the magnum opus of the album, in my opinion. That or Hitman maybe.
Yeah.
But like
Poop Man for sure.
Poop Man. We're like, well, we can't play that.
Yeah.
That's not gonna sound as good as the 3-piece. And Mikey actually fucking killed it on the bass.
Mikey killed it.
But I remember we had talked to Aiden back in that spring. I remember Mikey and we had played a wedding gig as an acoustic duo. No vocals, just two of us acoustic. And we're talking. Do you remember this at all?
Maybe if you keep telling the story.
We played like the before the wedding, like the rehearsal.
Yeah.
And we're like drinking, eating food, and we're like, what are we going to do about this? We were like, because Jake hadn't left yet, but we knew he was going to. And we were like, Aiden. I was like, well, let me talk to him. Because Aiden and I related, and we lived together.
So what Liam means is that we share family members. We come from the same crop.
Yeah, we have the same parents.
What that means is that our parents had him and then me, same people.
But even if they had him in the other order, they would still be
related.
Yeah, hermanos for our Spanish audience.
And then we were like, Aiden, you're good, because we all heard Aiden play. I know I had, and Aiden was always been a really, 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 really good guitar player. And I was like, he can do bass. Because you were definitely playing actual bass at the time. Right. I was like, we can ask him. And Aiden was like, sure. But I remember we were like, Aiden is young. That is going to run us into difficulties. But we're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Young people usually work out the best in the end.
Yeah, we're ageist.
We could really mess up his life here.
Yeah.
We can meld him how we want.
Yeah. And we were like,
which they did. My life sucks because of them.
Yeah. And then we're like talking about it.
Mainly Mikey.
And we're like, Jake, well, I guess this is your last show. And he's like, what? And we're like, huh? Because, our great communication skills. He's like, no, what? I want to play in North Carolina. And we're like,
oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like,
this was the first time he said he was leaving, and then he changed, and then he actually, okay, yeah, now I remember this.
And I was like, shit. Because, ideally, we didn't want Jake to leave at all. But we're like, we wanted some closure on it, and we're like, fuck, Jake's not leaving. So then I remember feeling horrible. I was like, Aiden, I don't know what's going on. I was like, I hate to do this, but I have no idea what's happening. We can't. Yeah, Jake's in the band. He's the band member. We can't really do anything about this. This is not within our control. He just changed his mind.
And then our good friend God intervened and caused a big storm that got that festival canceled, so we didn't have to play it anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, God hates Mikey and I.
Yeah.
We tried out for the baseball team in high school, and we both didn't make it.
Yeah.
Come on.
I made it. I made the baseball team.
Well, that's before he was involved with us, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
who knows?
But if we didn't make the baseball team, this band might not be around. But
so you could thank Liam and Mikey being atrocious at sports.
Horrible. I was not good at baseball. I don't know why I thought I even had a shot. Yeah. I don't even know if I did. Also, I wonder if this ring light's even doing anything.
I hit 400 my freshman year.
Damn.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Damn.
Fuck yeah, I hit.
Would you have 3 at bats?
No, I had probably 150.
Nice.
Fuck.
And then we circled back to the Rhode Island show. We had fun. The crowd liked us. We played like absolute ass. I remember we did Hitman. We just didn't know the song at the time. And I remember we did Rebels Are Blind too. I forget what other songs we did. We probably did Unspoken. You Ain't Gonna Stop. Usual Suspects at the time. And then we get back, and Jake's like, guys, I'm sorry. I just can't do this anymore. And then we're like,
we gotta wrap this up, man.
We're like, oh man, that really stinks. So Jake is actually out, but we did record a full album with him, and we're like, all right, Dan, that's fine. Well, he just can do the album for us. We already have a guy who can play bass. And then he's like, guys, I don't know if I can do the album. And we're like, Jake's our friend, so we are understanding. We're like, Jake, that's fine. We don't want you to do something that you don't do. Because mixing and mastering an album is a time-consuming thing. Especially when it's your first album, which would have been his like working with someone. It was his first, and
do you guys want to
Really?
do episode 2? Talk about
The actual album. Yeah, we can do that.
Because this is like, we'll cut the second part out.
Yeah.
To get to your point, obviously, but like it's pretty long at this point.
Yeah.
People aren't going to watch for 2 hours.
yeah. Well, do you want to do another episode right now?
Right now?
Might as well. I think we're on a roll.
I don't care. I want to watch football on pizza. But yeah, I guess we could.
All right, we'll finish this thought and then we can.
Well, yeah. So then, Aiden joins the band and he plays his first show in Virginia with us, and that was that. And once we had Charlie and Aiden, and Charlie and Jake and Jack were an excellent rhythm section. I don't know that Jake and Charlie had the same chemistry as Jake and Jack, though. But when you get Charlie and Aiden, that's a new rhythm section, and that really, I think, took us into a different sound.
And I think at the end of the day, I'm kind of the mediator between the rhythm and lead section, so
Rhythm melody.
it was me. I was kind of the glue that held the rhythm section together. I kind of am the hero of the band in a way for doing that.
Oh,
And,
Mikey's definitely the
you know,
hero of the band.
Yeah. It's just I don't like to brag. I don't like to be a bragger.
No, he hates bragging.
I hate bragging, but really, without me, we wouldn't be here right now. And that's the end of the story. That's where it ends.
So that concludes episode 1, and then episode 2, we're actually going to talk about the album.
Yeah. Sweet.
Oh, I'm trying to take a pizza break.
Let's take a pizza break.
That was actually only